Okay, so this is the UDA makeup tutorial for all the competitive dancers. So let's just get going. You want to make sure you start with a cleansed face and a moisturized face. And then the very first step you're going to do is get your paint pot, your MAC paint pot. And you can use either a small concealer brush or just your finger to put this on. And you're just going to put this all over your lid really well. Cover it really good. You don't want it too thick, but you want to make sure it's covered. When you're doing this, make sure you cover all the way from the bottom of the lid all the way up to the eyebrow. You can even get a little on the eyebrow because it can kind of help control if you have unruly eyebrows. It can kind of help control the direction that they're going. I have really thin eyebrows, so I don't need a lot of control up there, but if you have crazy eyebrows, you can get it kind of up there because we're going to be drawing your eyebrows in anyway. And I usually will just kind of use my finger on the inside edge there. Okay, done. Next, we're going to do your face primer. And that I actually just use my finger to put all over my face. And this will just help lock that makeup in place. And it also, well, these girls are so young, they don't have any fine lines and wrinkles, but for those of us that have fine lines and wrinkles, it will help fill those in. But mostly for them, we're just worried about making this makeup last and endure the hours and the sweat and the heat and being under the lights. And yeah, you want to get right up underneath the eye, probably just a little bit, all the way to the hairline. And actually, I should probably pull my hair back a little bit better. Okay. So once you have your primer on, and I would definitely make sure you do your eye primer, the paint pot first, because your foundation primer tends to be a little bit more oily and slick, and it will, it might get that on your eye, on your eyelid, and you want your eyelid to be really kind of sticky, tacky, so that the eyeshadow really sticks on there. Okay, so next we're gonna do the foundation. Now my favorite way to put foundation on is with this beauty blender. You can do it with a foundation brush if you like, or just your finger. But this, I think it does a really great job of just making it really even. And you can get these at Ulta on Amazon. They make knockoff versions of it as well. You could probably find one at Target. When I'm using that, I usually like to just put my foundation kind of on my face a little bit first, so it doesn't all soak into the sponge. Your foundation should, match your skin color. If anything, you could probably be, if it ends up being a little darker is okay, just so that you're not looking too washed out on stage. Yep, and then just take this and blend underneath and your chin and kind of down your neck and over your lips for sure. You don't want to get this up onto your eyelid because you've already got your foundation or your your eyeshadow primer on. So just take that and make sure you get into the hairline, and like I said, go down under your neck really good so we don't have any harsh lines, makeup lines. We want it to blend really nicely. And I know I said you could go a little, if it's a little darker, it's okay. Definitely don't want to go too dark. We don't want it to look, your face look a totally different color than your neck, but yeah, probably just trying to match is the best thing. So, and again, blend. You guys will have buns and your hair will be pulled back, so blend it really good up into that hairline. Okay, just make sure you're really covered. Okay, perfect. Next, we're gonna do bronzer. Just take kind of a blush brush, a bronzing brush, give it a little swirl, and I would kind of dab it off just a little bit onto like a paper towel or something. And then you're gonna wanna start probably along your forehead. We don't want any big bronzer dots or like right on your cheek or something like that. So I would start kind of just going across the forehead, and then you're gonna do like a little halo kind of a thing around. And it's not going on the cheekbone. It's actually kind of going in the cheek, in the indentation, to kind of create like a shadow there. And again, making sure that we blend. That's kind of the key, I think, as we've been doing this makeup, different makeup for a few years. I think the biggest problem most people have is blending. So just making sure we don't have stripes anywhere of anything, and then just do a little bit on your chin, just a little bit. We don't want a big red chin. Actually, I'm gonna do this just a little darker because we're gonna be up on stage. Okay, so then I'm just gonna take my big kind of blending brush and just blend it in so that I don't have any crazy lines. Just make sure it's really well blended. Okay. And the bronzer is just, again, gonna kind of help so that you have some color up on stage and you're not looking completely washed out under those really powerful lights. Okay, so after the bronzer, we're gonna get into our makeup palette here. We're gonna start with kind of the lightest, the white color. We're gonna take that and we're gonna put that just right up underneath, or on the brow bone underneath our eyebrow. And this color, you kind of have to build a lot. It's not a super rich color on its own, so you kind of have to build, probably put a couple layers on to make sure that we can kind of see that highlighted brow bone right there. And if you get a little on your eyebrow, no worries, because we're gonna draw those in just a minute here. So make sure, this one, I mean, of course, always blending, but the white isn't gonna create such bad lines. Okay. Just a little more up there. And we may come back and add a little bit more after we've kind of got all of the eyeshadow on. Add a little bit more on that. So then you've got your brow bones highlighted. Next, we're gonna go to the kind of the light brown color, and we're just gonna cover, our eyelid with that. This one is also, it's not super pigmented. I think that's the word I was looking for. It's not super pigmented, so you'll probably have to do kind of a couple layers of this. But yeah, just get this kind of right on the eyelid. And you'll notice with this eyeshadow primer, it's a little stickier. I mean, it still blends, but it kind of sticks, which is good. We want it to stick. But yeah, get that on really good there. We are gonna put a little of the highlighter in the inner corner of the eye, so you don't have to go clear in there with this color, because we're gonna use a little highlighter in that inner corner. And I know everybody has different shaped eyes, so it can be hard to get this all perfectly proportioned, but try, I even probably got it up a little higher than I needed to. It'll get covered, but yeah, try to just cover that lid really good. Okay, so next step is our black brown, which is gonna be, we're gonna use that for our crease and also for our eyebrows. Now this one is actually really dark. We want a strong eye, and we're gonna want a strong eyebrow, but I would suggest really kind of tapping it off and building the eyeshadow as opposed to stick it in and just go for it, because you're gonna end up really dark, and it's a lot harder to peel off than it is to add. So I'm just gonna dip this in a little bit, probably, yeah, just do a little bit on, or tap a little bit off onto the thing, the paper towel or towel, whatever it is you're using. I kind of like a fluffier brush for the crease. Don't start in the inside of your eye. You'll want to start on the outside because we want the darkest part to be on the outside of your eye. And you're just going to start bringing it in. And you can see already, I mean, I've tapped that off quite a bit, how dark this really is. Okay, then you're gonna wanna have a really good blending brush. Because we do not, again, no lines, we just want really beautiful looking makeup. So you're gonna wanna blend that really, really well. You might even have to wipe your blending brush off in between a little bit just so that it's not getting too much color. Now the thing that's kind of crazy is you'll kind of blend it and it'll kind of lighten up a little bit. And there's a good chance you're gonna have to go back and just put a little teeny bit more on, just to make sure it's dark enough. You want definitely the darkest part right in the crease. It's gonna kind of come out just a little bit as you're blending it, which is okay. But you don't wanna get anything too dark clear out here. So the darkest is kind of right here in the crease, and then you're gonna blend it out a little bit. Okay, and then you can use like a really tiny brush, eyeshadow brush like this, or you could probably even use a Q-tip. I don't know if that'll work quite as well. I would suggest trying to, see if you have a little, you might even be able to use a small brush like this. It's just hard to get into the corner of the eye. And then just go right into the corner of the eye, just to kind of highlight in there. And again, this color is not super pigmented, so you'll probably have to do it a couple of times to get a really lightened look in there. And then again, just blend it into the rest of the eyeshadow right there. Okay. Do the other eye. Okay, now when you're done, go back and just blend really good one more time. Make sure everything is looking really nice and there's no crazy lines anywhere, and it's looking really pretty. Dark, but pretty.